Okay. Today we're going to be drawing a glass of water. Wait a second. Alright, so I believe we can get started. Okay. Alright, so let's go on. These are my art supplies. So we have a HP, we have a 3B, a 5B, and a B. Alright. So I'll be using all of this and this electric eraser and my charcoal software. Okay. Fine. Alright. So we'll just start off. Alright, so wait. Wait, dude, Alright, so this is what we're going to be doing. What is going on in the chat? Alright, so yes. Now, and Hello, Kyle. Kyle. Yeah, sorry. Anyway. Alright, so basically first I'm drawing the rim of the glass. Okay, so I just no. Okay, see, I'm gonna use this 3B pencil and I'm gonna create a shade like over here and here because it's like the part where you don't have like as much light as hitting, but and it's the part which kind of makes the glass look like glass. Okay, let's go. Yes. Okay, so I should shade over here like this part. I've chosen to keep this part of the glass to make it a little darker, like the back of the glass. I'll darken a little bit over here. So I just blend this a little to give it like an even finish. And then I use my eraser, the eraser that I showed you at the first. I'll just blend this out and then add some of the, I'll shade the rest here because I also need the rest of it to be the same. Now for the highlights. Okay, now let's shade this side, this entire part of the cup, using a 5B pencil for the ends, like alright, and then some areas over here where it's a little dark. And you shade the other parts here, which extend out a little bit further. And then here you add a kind of a light bend, light reflection bend, refraction. Alright, so here you just make it a little darker on the edges. Okay. And here, this entire portion should be dark, but first let's shade it lightly with this 5B pencil. Lightly means very lightly. And here let's add a kind of I word of thing. Okay, because we still have a lot of detailing to do. So let's just first have the base light color inside the, glass, and blend this entire thing so that everything looks pretty smooth and nice. Alright, so now we have blended this. Now let's add this highlight over here, which is good. Okay, so we're supposed to blend this area a little first, so that the highlight becomes visible, and it's not like something floating in the dark. And just add this back in, like over here. And here is a warp, and you draw like the bending where water basically magnifies and refracts, and all the things happen, magical stuff happen. Okay. Alright, so yeah. Now let's blend this area, so we need the highlights to stand out. And so let's just add a small dot over here. And another small dot. We'll be needing a white pen, but then first you could also do it with this eraser and then just leave it around it. It doesn't really matter a lot. Yeah, okay. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start off here, small warp, and outline this, and then we're gonna draw a line till here, and here you're gonna darken this area out, and inside this area you're gonna again dark it. Okay, dark it over here, then up till here, light it, make it go up till here, make it a little bit, and then keep it the same way, or the same color. Alright, okay, got it. Now again, in the same way, you draw another dark line over here, and now again you repeat the process as you draw warps that get darker and darker. You can draw them in any way, but then I prefer them to just follow when you're starting off, but then when you're used to drawing, it's completely fine, as all these warps should be at the bottom. There is some physics behind this called lensing or something. I am pretty much not sure. Now darken this. Okay. Now okay, so this is another dark thing that we're gonna do. Not a dark thing that we're gonna do, it's like another dark warp. Fine, alright, okay. So let's just fill this up with dark, and then get to light transition. Alright, now again we have a dark thing, dark warp, and then just continues and again meets over here. It's like this kind of curved zigzag pattern. Alright, now the reason I'm using a 3D pencil is that it's precise. 5B pencils, you can do stuff much faster as they're more softer, but I recommend 3B. But I use 5B as well for the really dark subjects. Now here, you're supposed to like make it as dark and many warps as possible. And when I'm saying as dark, it's like so that you can see that it is just the contrast is high between the light and the dark parts. Now here you're supposed to add a highlight, which we're gonna do, but first let's just continue with this. fill this warm part. So here and then again. Put out here and then fill it again, get it. Okay. Alright, and then again we make a warp, and this time inside the warp we're again gonna fill it not that dark, but it is as dark as you know how you filled it over here. The same way fill it over here. Okay, so I hope you got this up. Now just fill it a little bit, darken these gaps. Now take your eraser or whatever highlighter or anything you have. Highlight some points inside this. Use white paper in areas where you have to. Use white pen, which I'll use at the end because I like to add highlights at the end because I need to do a lot of shading work. And as soon as you shade over the light pen, your work gets destroyed. So I like to add the highlights with the white pen at the end. So it's better. Even you could do it now, but then sometimes if you shade over it again, it goes boom. Then it looks a little messed up. So yeah. First I'll just blend this area because I want it smooth again. Smooth and all that. Now the white eraser comes into handy over here in these area situations, whatever you call it. Right now highlights. Brush off all the excess graphite that you have, either by blowing it off or by just like add a small tone. Okay, see. Alright, now see. First, take your 5B pencil, shade dark along the borders. Okay, really dark. Okay, yeah, my pencil broke. I just use a 3B pencil. My 5B pencil was like broke. Yeah, nice blueprint in the middle of this. Okay, now shade this. Shade this off. Okay. How many of you are following this process and how many of you have reached this part? If yours looks good, that's great. Even if it does not look good, it's fine. It's the first time. So how many of you are following this and you have reached this part and you look and you feel that your drawing looks almost the same as what is in my book or what I'm drawing? If you could write down in the chat. Okay, so I'll just wait for a minute and then I'll again continue. Alright, so meanwhile I just take out the art supplies I'm using. So basically this charcoal bar, stick charcoal bar of course. There's a bar but it's not a bar. Okay, so I recommend this with you just write it on paper and just use this, see, like you rub it fully on paper such that you have the entire charcoal full bar or square full with charcoal, and then you use this brush and rub it inside the square. I'll show it to you how, because I'll be using the charcoal thing to fill this inside a little bit. Now, alright, see, okay, I'll be starting now. Fine, so now, just fill this inside, make these borders a little dark. Alright, make these borders dark. Find these borders around, like the glass. Make them dark, like, not that dark, but then visibly. Don't use charcoal for this, please. I recommend not using charcoal because sometimes charcoal can mess up your work. You could use charcoal, of course, but then I recommend using graphite itself. I recommend for the charcoal powder for the inside, just filling up the inside. Now, okay. All right. Now I was talking some nonsense about charcoal, right? So just take like a rough paper. I'll take something. Okay. So like I have this paper, okay, and then I take this piece of charcoal, rub it like on this. Okay, you see my process? Okay, so I rub it on this. Okay, I dip it very lightly. If I dip it a lot, then it's a lot darker. Okay. Okay, so slightly. Alright, slightly. Fine. And okay. Alright, so it's there. Alright, and we need to lighten that up. Okay? So, then next, I recommend it here now. I need to use it here. Right, where I'm gonna draw the shadows. Right, the shadow is gonna come out this way. So, yeah. Alright, so this is gonna be our charcoal for the shadow. Such that. Alright, everybody. Alright. Just keep rubbing it. You're almost at the end. You're almost at the end. Alright. Okay. Alright, so this area should be for your shadow, whatever you imagine the light source. Fine. Alright. Okay, so then, now, see, I'm gonna add a few highlights. Alright, then I'm gonna do some shadings as well with upon using chocolate powder, the real advantage is the eraser shows up a lot much better. Alright, now the advantages is sometimes you might mess up, kinda messed up, but then I've, it doesn't, like, maybe look like messed up, but still. So now, around these highlights, shade some dark curves. Fine. Okay, so I just shade curves in water pattern, but small curves, not like huge curves. Okay, now do some small curves on the inside. Alright, and basically you're done. Okay, now just dip a little bit in the charcoal color, just start around it so that you get a highlight. Now you have to add a highlight. Okay, over here. Add a highlight here to distinguish this thing. Now, first, now you have to add a highlight like this. Because you're drawing a shadow of the cup and it must look like the cup. So then you gotta add like a few shadows or lines. Okay, a few shadows or lines like this, and then just like shade it. Alright. Okay, now if you wanna add a background, you can. You could as well, but then it's up to you whether you want to add a background or not. I just want to improve the shading over here. Alright, and then I'm just going to darken these stripes more and then add more depth or depth. Okay. Okay, now we're gonna add highlights over here, or here, or here. Now, okay, see, remember I was talking about this area? Darken it a little bit more. Darken it a little bit more, right? So that you make the highlights more visible, and you could see it. Alright, fine, darken it as much as you can. Not like fully dark, okay? Listen to me, look at me, how much dark I'm doing, and then just do it. Alright, now shade this like the other part. Excuse me. Lightly, okay? Not that dark. Lightly. And mainly put the focus on the part which, on this part, and make it dark. Find dark, dark, dark. Alright. And then, alright, now use this thing. And also here on the edges, darken it, darken it. Fine. Use this. Alright, kind of blend this a little so that it looks. Now here is the part where you have to get really, really dark. See, now here, shade this region, shade it. The charcoal looks so different from graphite when you look it under this. Okay, now. And of course we're using charcoal here. Alright, so I just want you to use a little bit, okay, a little bit, alright, just over there so that you could blend this entire area, because that one part of charcoal is enough. Alright, now, see, slowly, alright, not really, not high pressure, otherwise this would become very dark. Okay. Use the excess powder to also share the other end. Shared. shade, not share. Shade the other end, and then now add more highlights so that your drawing does not become. Alright, now see. Okay, see this. I'm gonna use all of this excess chocolate powder and then just use it to shade the other end, like the surroundings, other than the shadow. Now around the shadow, make it a little dark, or then. Alright, now just shade all of this background. Okay, if you want, alright, if you want more contrast, so that you would understand there's a gray background behind, so that's why this looks like this. Alright, you could leave it if you're. You could basically leave it. It's completely on your wish as well. Okay, now the 5B pencil, whether or not it's broken, almost like, I mean, fine, so you use it to shade over here a little. Alright, now, see this. Okay, I shade on these ends, and don't shade near the charcoal. Just shade over all over, and again do the highlights so that it looks. This is also optional. Alright, this is completely optional as well. I'm just doing it. Okay, so that you get the idea. The more darker the shadow, the more better it would look. And don't make it too dark, I'm telling you. I know, shade this entire part inside. Just shade, and then voila, you will get a good result after you add the highlights again. Okay, fine, just add the kind of highlight. If you want, shade a little bit more around the surroundings like this. And that's all, you're done. I believe you'd have gotten a perfectly and good neat drawing. If you hadn't, that's completely fine as well. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time in the next video. Bye, guys. See ya.